Ooh, alright. You've been lucky enough to acquire a bounty of friendships since you arrived on this planet, but there's still an emptiness nestled right in the crook of your heart's atria. Maybe making one more friend will fix it. Maybe this next one will expand inside your chest like a sponge in the bath, pushing out all your sadness, loneliness, and insecurity. After all, number 20 is the charm. Alright. Tegiri. Okay. In an utterly unsurprising turn of events, the night finds you trolling Alternia in search of, well, trolls. The friendly type, preferably, although you've been known to work wonders with hostile folks, too. Your current hunting ground appears to be a primarily teal neighborhood, which suits you fine. Teals live relatively comfortably and are usually only mildly disdainful of you. This strikes you as a good place to search for companionship. You've got another pressing concern, though, a faint glow, far on the horizon, which suggests that the sun will be rising soon, a couple hours from now at most. Nights on Alternia seem to last forever, but when the daylight hits, it hits hard, like a truck. But the truck is on fire, and the fire is nuclear fusion, and the truck is a star. Point is, you're not in the mood for another sunburn. You'd better snag a buddy before it's too late. You, the strange hornless thing. Speak of the devil. You whip around and spot a troll boy with a stylish hat and a sword sheathed behind his back. His clothes are a little shabby, but he carries himself with a rigid, composed air. What are you, some kind of mutant troll? Or another sentient creature? Definitely the latter, you say. Unless you would prefer the former, in which case you're that, actually. But mutants, you've learned, are not particularly well liked on this planet. An alien. I won't have to cull you then. Not immediately, at least. You don't appear to be a cull-on-sight species. Lucky for you that I won't have to loose my blade. And lucky for me that to have found a potential comrade. I know what you seek. Shelter and friendship, but not necessarily in that order. You're about to speak up, but he's already moving on. You seek the meeting place of the Eastern Alternian Fine Animated Art Appreciation Society. I know where I'm going with that. Or, some less cultured souls would call it, the Anime Club. Oh, club! Back home, teachers used to go on and on about how clubs were a wonderful place to meet new friends. You didn't really believe it then, but maybe things are different here on Alternia. You confidently assert that yes, you are here for the animes. Good. I feared I was going to have to cancel tonight's meeting due to no-shows, but now it can proceed as scheduled. Follow me. He gestures towards his hive and begins to stride confidently toward it, but then he rethinks it, pausing to look back at you. Wait. Subs or dubs? You take what we can get. Give me all the animes. His expression immediately sours, a look you're all too familiar with. If you had a mouse, you'd be frantically scrolling the wheel upwards to roll back time and make a new choice. But you live in the real world, where you have to face the consequences of your god-awful anime opinions. Have you no conviction? The Anime Club is a sanctuary for those strong-willed and finely honed arguments, not a shelter for cowardly pissants. What debate can come from a sycophantic toady such as yourself? How are you going to stimulate my intellect? You begin to sputter in protest. You're plenty stimulating. You've got a pretty long list of friends who you've stimulated in all kinds of ways. Platonic ones, mostly, but he's not having any of it. There are other anime fans in this city? Fans? Perhaps their gatherings will be more your level. Farewell. Oh boy. Friendship. Okay. Subtitles, obviously. All about subtitles. Look at my subtitles right now. It's entertaining how wrong you are. But even the greatest of Alternia's philosophers
It requires sparring opponents on the battlefield of the intellect. To challenge your assumptions with my superior logic and taste will be a fulfilling task. Come in.
Not really the reaction you were hoping for, but you'd say anything to get into someone's hive, so you'll take it. Tegiri invites you into his hive with a sweeping bow, and you step into the foyer. The hive looked normal from the outside, normal by troll standards at least, but the inner decor has an entirely different vibe to it. It reminds you of Japanese architecture. Tegiri takes off his sandals before entering the next room. You'd take your shoes off too, if you had any. As you step into his living room, you are assaulted, not literally, thankfully, by an absolute smorgasbord of merchandise. This place looks like someone did a Google search for Otaku collection, and opened the first result. Otaku? Okay. Posters and scrolls adorn every inch of wall available, and the inches of wall that aren't available are blocked by shelves containing all sorts of DVDs, manga, and other such forms of media. On the large glass shelving unit near the room's exit, you spy a veritable cornucopia of anime figurines, most of whom seem to be in varying states of undress. You would like to describe it as tasteful nudity, but you would also like to describe yourself as the most popular person on Alternia, and both would be a lie. Tegiri has arranged his merch meticulously according to blood color, from red at the bottom to fuchsia at the top.
I see you're admiring my fine Easter Alternian collectibles. I polish them daily, just as I polish my blade. Don't touch them or you'll taste folded steel.
You slowly retract your hand. You wouldn't dream of touching them. That was never ever something you were planning on doing. You won't even breathe off them. In fact, you step far away from the collectibles just in case. With that step, you bump into something behind you and hear a soft ruff. A soft ruff. As you spin around and look, you see what must be Tegiri's Lucis surveying you with an intense gaze. It looks a lot like a Shiba Inu if they were twice the size and had opposable everything. Honestly, watching it scuttle around like a monkey while sniffing at you is pretty entrancing. Eventually, you seem to meet its standards because it darts out of the room. You hear some rustling in what you assume is the kitchen.
That was Tadashi Inu, my Lucis. He taught me everything I know. I could not have asked for a better sensei.
Yeah, dogs are great, you respond, and then immediately wish you could take that back. Dogs are great. That's got to be the blandest possible statement you could have made. And possibly inaccurate, too. What's this thing called? A bark beast? A fetch fiend? A roof gremlin? Oh, Tegiri isn't even paying attention to you anymore. He's busy perusing his shelves, picking out some DVDs.
Per my viewing schedule, we'll watch a carefully curated selection of episodes from one classic and from one recent release. But, since you're a newcomer, it might be best not to jump into the middle of Flashback series, Philosopher Half Iron. Perhaps we shall instead begin with the first season of School-Fed Heroism, and transition into some episodes of Kismet Stuck Morning. Kismet Stuck? The original airing, of course, not the censored one with the ridiculous CGI dragon, though.
Looks like Tegiri intends to take full control of the morning's activities, which you find entirely copacetic. The less you need to assert your own opinions and make your own choices, the less likely you are to fuck up. It's probably not a healthy way to live, but it's gotten you somewhere between 1 to 19 friends so far, so you're sticking to it. With deft and precise movements, Tegiri retrieves a disc from its container and pops it in the troll equivalent of a DVD player. It makes a slimy chugging noise as it sucks the disc in, and like usual, you aren't sure if it's an inanimate object or a living being. Either way, you're a little disgusted. The DVD player hums, and Tegiri's TV lights up with a colorful title screen. You're ready to get settled in for a journey through the wonderful world of the animes, but he frowns and pauses the episode less than a minute in.
Hang on. This isn't the correct copy. The localization on these lines was changed after the original translator was called by a purple blood for crimes against buffoonery. I specifically ordered the first edition and paid extra for it, but this is unacceptable.
Tegiri stops the DVD player, ejects the disc, and places it back in its case.
Come, there's still time in the night. We need to go resolve this immediately. The shop that imported it for me is nearby.
He heads for the door and beckons for you to follow, which you do. You guess it was too much to hope for a quiet morning inside, wouldn't it? At least you get to go shopping for animes, which sounds fun enough. Will it be at one of those fancy automated stores, you wonder?
No. Unlike most stores in Alternia, this specialty stop is run by a living troll. A fellow collector who would not entrust such work to automation. So one would expect, with an actual ThinkPad involved, there would be no careless mistakes like this. At least I'm good terms with the owner, so I doubt there'll be trouble.
You, on the other hand, expect plenty of it. Pretty much everything on this goddamn planet has been trouble so far. Does he know how awful it is here? You don't want a human explain to him or anything, but things are pretty awful around here.
Things are pretty awful around here.
Oh, you guess he knows. He's staring at one of the many billboards that line the streets, which has been defaced with bright red graffiti. It's saying some pretty nasty stuff about Tritza.
Rebel sentiments grow by the moment. Alternia lies on the verge of peril, the blade's edge. And not any blade, but the blade of a razor-sharp folded steel katana. Forged under the East Alternian moonlight, heated by the bellows breath of a magnificent draconian Lucis, cooled by the shimmering cascade of acid waterfall, and fit to be handled only by a true expert. Do you dance?
You're a little caught off guard by that question. Dancing? As in, moving one's body to music?
Anyway, yes. Moving to the sweet music of steel on steel, the rhythm of combat, the stiletto step that weaves death and glory into one beautiful motion. Do you dance?
Oh, sword fighting. Of course. You really should have figured that one out. This guy's dial has only two settings, talking about swords or talking about anime. Sometimes he gets particularly frisky and talks about both at once. You tell him that you don't know how to handle swords, but they seem really cool, and you'd love to learn.
Cool? Swordplay is more than cool. It's a way of life, a code of honor. Code of honor. To pick up the blade is to bind yourself to the tenets of Bushido, and to be prepared at all times to enforce justice, the only way a swordsman knows, through steel. Someday the pursuit of justice may bring me face to face with these rebel scum. I must be ready to show them the true, magnificent terror of the blade. Who knows, maybe I would even be awarded a Clown-Congressional Medal of Honor. A troll can dare to dream.
So, that's why he practices swordplay, huh? To enforce justice, kind of like a vigilante?
Vigilante? Please. I would only recall a troll who legally deserved death. What kind of lawless moron do you take me for?
You don't take him for a moron at all. In fact, he's very smart and clever and just. You hope you're not laying it on too thick, but he seems to enjoy the praise.
We're here. This won't take too long.
He's taking you to a night market that reminds you of the place where you left Palapa. The strip mall lies to the left of many tents and stalls, and a sign above one door says, Super Tapato Imports. Oh my. As you enter, Tegiri makes a beeline for the counter, which is manned by a greasy-looking Goldblood with pinkish-looking eyes. You, on the other hand, are more interested in the rest of the store. It looks a lot like Tegiri's living room, but bigger. Anime figurines on sale for what looks to be a preposterous amount of money, DVDs and comics lining the shelves, arcade games in the corner. There's even a section for replica swords, which all look far too sharp and legitimately deadly for your liking. Skulking between the shelves is an olive blood guy. You can't quite tell if he works here, or if he's just browsing. You're not sure if any trolls even have normal jobs. You're about to ask the olive guy about a particularly interesting DVD when you're distracted by a commotion at the counter. You're pretty sure you heard Tegiri snarling something about his rights as a consumer. Looks like trouble is brewing. You turn your head toward the counter and listen in.
You really think you can get away with ripping me off like this? Do you know who I am? My blood caste. A teal blood like me has connections. A vast network of like-minded souls at my beck and call, ready to be unsheathed against my hapless foes. The legal force I can bring to bear against you is greater than your puerile mind could ever imagine. A fleet of legends lacerated will descend on you like shadow clones, each armed with the greatest weapon of them all, knowledge. And with our intricate understanding of the Alternian legal code, you will be mired in suits so myriad, so mind-numbing, you will wish for the swift and early death my blade can provide. Or you could offer me exchange of equal or greater value to my original purchase, whatever. Which path will you choose to walk, scum?
You wander closer to the counter, hoping you might be able to help resolve the situation, but instead you blunder right into the olive blood and send a box tumbling from his hands to the ground. A bunch of assorted products spill out as the shopkeeper gasps dramatically. You don't see what the big deal is, it looks like some more DVDs and manga. One cover features a troll with heart-shaped horns and a bright pink sign, and another features some red-blooded douchebag wearing pants way too tall for him. Tegiri picks up one of the mangas and waves it in front of the shopkeeper's face.
Care to explain what I'm looking at here? Imperial Dictate, number the 2nd, section 3.2. The depiction of non-standard homological attributes is strictly forbidden. Imperial Dictate, number the 7th, section 5. Material which encourages action against the state is considered contraband of the highest degree.
The olive blood, who can clearly see the situation careening downhill like a scuttle buggy without wheel stops, begins to creep toward the door. You'd love to do the same, but you can't give up on a potential new friendship. It's basically pathological.
To think that my favorite Eastern Alternian hobby shop could stoop so low as to peddle this criminal filth? What a sickening betrayal.
The shopkeeper stammers, offering a litany of muddled explanations that only seem to incense Tegiri further. He was holding it for a friend? No, wait, it's satire. Tegiri slams a palm down on the counter, and his eyes shoot open, revealing dark purple irises with a strange swirl pattern.
Imperial Dictate, number the 61st, section 2. Satire is especially contraband. You think you can mess with me? I've watched countless hours of legal drama, played and replayed legendary Legislacerator, and memorized every twist. I know the law back and forth. And now it's time for the punishment due. You're fucking dead, kiddo.
As Tegiri leaves over the counter, his free hand grips the hilt of his katana and tenses, ready to draw. He's about to straight up execute this guy. I mean... yeah, we'll do the stupid thing. Okay, you know this is a terrible idea, but you've seriously had it up to here with being party to the murder of random trolls. You quickly interpose yourself between Tegiri and the Goldblood. Does he really have to kill this guy for what seems to be his first offense? You launch into an impassioned spiel about love, friendship, and justice, hiding the value of forgiveness and second chances really hard. And, for good measure, you throw in a little side note about how Tegiri's favorite shop will close down if he kills this dude.
Silence.
Tegiri shoves you roughly aside, and you go careening into a display full of body pillows. You watch, stomach plummeting, as Tegiri turns back to the shopkeeper and slowly draws his sword. But then, at the last second, he reconsiders.
Consider yourself lucky I'm in a good mood. If I catch you selling contraband again, life will be mine.
Tegiri slides out of the store, holding a fresh copy of the DVD he wanted to exchange. You give the shopkeeper a vaguely apologetic look and rush out his drawer behind him. Whew, that was a close one. You thank Tegiri profusely for listening to your dumb little speech about whatever it was you said. Honestly, you already forgot.
You're clearly new to this planet. I felt pity for your naivete. But I should just kill him. Death is a legally prescribed punishment for such crimes as his. Actually, it's a legally prescribed punishment for most crimes. I should have separated him from his head. But I looked into your pleading eyes, and I saw...
Tegiri goes quiet. You would describe the silence as being particularly brooding. There's a lot of silences like that on this planet. Then finally he speaks.
This isn't my first time. It was just over a week ago, I believe. I was patrolling the High Batch in search of evildoers when I caught the unmistakable scent of smoke in the air. On pursuing the lead, I saw a hive, partially collapsed, partially on fire. My instincts flared, and I rushed in to help the innocent soul who was trapped there. But I was helping the girl bandage her wounds. It occurred to me that I'd made a grievous error in judgment. Trolls below a certain age without Lucis, their proper hive, were considered unviable and likely to be culled. By rights, I should have put her out of her misery the moment I realized my mistake. And yet, I looked into her deep grey eyes, dulled from the pain of loss, and I sheathed my blade. In fact, Even though she is hiveless and useless, I remain in contact with her to this day. Knowing deep down that one day I must call her, the law demands it. But I haven't yet. I don't know if I could. Why does my conviction waver at times like these?
I'm all over the place with that now. If he's talking about who you think he's talking about, you're pretty sure he couldn't kill her, even if he tried. But that's not the point here. The point is he's spilling some real and true and deep emotion with you. This friendship is basically in the bag. Just gotta drop some sweeping, vague wisdom that makes him feel better about potentially not being an unthinking cog in the alternative murder machine. You offer a light suggestion that maybe what is legal and what is just aren't always the same thing. Here's a little thought. Maybe he's doing the right thing, overlooking your situation because of how obviously fucked up it is to be a homeless orphan. He goes silent for a long time, chewing his bottom lip.
You're naive. Naive, uncultured, unenlightened.
Wow, thanks.
You think the world is simple, like a cartoon for children. This is Alternia, a land ruled by cold logic, where men such as myself must make the hard decisions. It's not easy being dedicated to a code of law. It asks much of us and gives us little in return, but it gives us order and keeps the beast at bay. If I were to question it, what then? Where I begin to wonder if it's unjust for blue blood to command his servants, for imperial drones to call the infirm, for us to obey the ever-changing whims of the Alternian royalty.
It takes a lot of effort to suppress your, well, yeah, but for the sake of his burgeoning friendship, you allow him to continue his monologue.
Rise to the streets. Troll killing troll. Even more than usual, I mean. No, I could not waver. These hands must remain steady and true. Where I feel a pull towards the scorching fangs of the light, I must continue my path, and remain in the tender, righteous embrace of the dark. Truth be my blade, intellect my sensei, and justice my only companion on this lonely road.
He goes on like that for quite a while. It all starts to muddle together in your head, and you lose count of how many times he's repeated some screed about justice and truth and being smarter than all the other trolls in the room. It honestly sounds to you like he's just lonely. You know a whole lot about loneliness, and the poor management thereof. Some people throw themselves into their nerdy anime hobby, and others become obsessed with making friends no matter the cost to their mental or physical well-being. Maybe he just needs a couple of good pals to remind him what it's like to have a heart. But if you try to tell him that, he'll probably just respond with another long, winding monologue. Likely stolen from an anime he watched recently. Maybe you should just let him vent.
You have my thanks for lending your ear.
Oh, a compliment brings you out of your reverie. Nothing interrupts the old introspection machine like the opportunity to chug on a succulent ambrosia that is any kind of praise or gratitude. It's no big deal, you tell him. You're a great listener. That's what friends are for. Has he considered having more friends? Like you, for example? He opens his mouth like he's about to reiterate the whole lone swordsman thing, so you hastily try to change the topic. What's with his eyes? Most trolls you've seen have had grey irises, and those who didn't followed the typical biological trend of displaying their blood color. Then he pauses, his grip tensing on his sword, as his fangs dig into his lip. Oh geez, this must be his most closely guarded secret. Have you earned enough trust to hear it?
They're contact lenses for cosplay.
Oh, fair enough. Actually, is cosplaying as a different blood caste even legal on this planet? If he's doing it, it probably is, right? You're about to ask when something distracts you. The sight of another troll standing in front of Tegiri's hive, using it as shelter from the rising sun. They're pacing back and forth with precise movements, glancing at one of the windows almost like they're plotting to break it. And when they hear footsteps approaching, they perk up and whirl their head around. Hey, wait a second. You recognize him. Polypa spots you before Tegiri spots her. Her expression is hard and stoic, eyes glancing between the two of you as she assesses the situation. And then, like she's throwing on a disguise, her face softens and she smiles. Hey Tegs, I was starting to wonder where you were. The anime night was cancelled. The Lucis is staring at me through the window. I think you think it's funny, watching me stuck outside, roasting to death, while you're chasing Purbeats around the hive batch.
Classic Tadashi. Why were you late? busier than expected. There's some work.
She shoots you a sharp glance.
Assembling some new mecha models. You know how it is. Yes, of course. It's all too easy to get wrapped up in one's hobby. Anyway, I didn't realize we'd have a third, for once. Not to mention, somebody I know. Nani? You and my new kohai have already met? Nani?
She pauses, her eyes darting back and forth between you once more. She seems to be assessing the situation, wearing a look like an assassin trying to evade capture. You recognize that look considering she was literally wearing it the last time you met.
You're kind of morals.
Whoa. That's absolutely not what you thought you were, but you just kind of nod your head and roll with it. It seems to be what she wants you to do.
Oh. Morals.
Tegiri's face tightens almost imperceptibly, but you caught it. Nothing gets past your honed, friend-making eyes. Well, actually a lot of things get past them, but not this particular thing. You're finely tuned to the nuances of social situations, as long as those nuances don't involve making a binary choice on which your social future hinges.
Well, as you know, I'm far too busy studying the blade to pursue quadrants of any sort. A foolish waste of time. Were it not for the laws of this land, I would swear off them entirely.
You sure it isn't?
That you just can't get a date? You don't have to play the mysterious loner, you know. There's other clubs you could join, instead of insisting on running your own.
He huffs, looking away. You hear his Lucis barking from behind the window, in a tone that sounds like laughter.
Fools mock that which they cannot understand. And to think I was going to congratulate you on finding love. Once you finish your spiel about romance being dumb.
Oliver gives him a light, friendly whack, which he responds to with a smile. You can tell the exchange is friendly, not only because he's smiling, but because he's still standing.
Enough banter. The harsh glare of the sun begins to crest, and we have Eastern Alternian animation to indulge in. I'll allow you both to spend the day at my hive if needed. There's space.
Oh shit, a slumber party? And with more than one participant even? That's got to be worth extra friend points. We're so in. Shelter from the broiling death orb in the sky barely even registers for you as an added bonus. Oliver smiles at you as the three of you enter Tegiri's hive. Tegiri covers up all his windows to block out the sun, and starts up the new copy of his DVD, which thankfully seems to meet the standards this time. You settle in on the couch, basking in the warm glow of friendship, and prepare to lose yourself to hours of the beautiful, wonderful animes. Oh, the bumper! Okay. Oh, I had another couple choices to try there. Hold on a second. Alright, friendships. Wow. Dubs.
Perfect. A fellow connoisseur. Connoisseur, whatever. Let's continue.
Tegiri invites you into his hive with a sweeping bow and you step into the foyer. Is this gonna be the same? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Alright, so let's not intervene. You really don't want to get in between the shopkeeper and Tegiri's sword. For all you know, this really does warrant an immediate execution. Who are you to judge? You do, however, squint a little, so you don't have to see the full, gory detail of the culling. Turns out, it's not nearly as gory as you expected. Tegiri leaps over the counter and swings wildly at the guy, but many of his attacks fail to connect. It's mostly a bunch of bombastic anime-style type moves that don't translate well to actual combat. Still, some strikes hit home, drawing a spray of murky gold blood that jolts the shopkeeper out of his petrified fear. He screeches and unleashes a strobing psionic blast from his eyes, causing Tegiri to stagger back, disoriented. The flash of light doesn't seem to have caused any real damage, but it offers the perfect opportunity to flee. By the time your eyes have adjusted, the only thing they see is the back door swinging wildly in his wake. Unsurprisingly, the olive blood is nowhere to be seen as well. Tegiri glances down at his katana, stained with the blood of the shopkeeper, and slowly sheathes it. His hand is shaking, claws tapping the hilt restlessly. He turns slowly to you, forcing himself back into his usual stoic posture.
He got lucky, that's all. And he can't hide forever. Let's go. We need to report this to a drone.
He strides out of the shop, leaving you to follow hurriedly behind. What a mess. You hesitantly asked him whether it was really necessary to try and kill that boy for what he did.
Of course it was. The law is absolute. A foreigner like you might not understand. It is not my duty to question the righteousness of my actions. I am but a tool through which the law is enforced. I am the blade that her imperious condescension wields and maintain order in this world of chaos. Just like this drone.
He gestures to one of the big hulking drones that you've grown all too familiar with during your stay here on Alternia. Right now, it looks like it's cleaning up some bronze-colored blood that was spattered on the side of a building. Tegiri approaches and hails it, beginning to explain that there's a collector's shop he needs to report for rebel activity, but the drone isn't listening to any of that. It slowly turns from him to stare directly at you, and it raises its weapon to your face. A grating electronic noise issues from its metallic grill. In the immortal words of a wise cartoon dog,
Hold it. This creature is under my protection. It has committed no crime. If you continue this attempted culling, I will strike back with my katana. And a strongly worded letter to your superiors.
The drone seems supremely annoyed that it can't just get right down to culling a motherfucker, but Tegiri's caste must be just high enough to give it pause. You, the motherfucker in question, are incredibly relieved. That relief quickly fades when the drone produces a palm husk with a blurry picture of you on the screen, and a lot of text beneath, most of it flashing red. That's never a good sign. It looks like a rap sheet. Tegiri reads through it quickly, which is a pretty impressive feat considering his eyes are still closed, and his expression darkens the further down it gets.
Wanted under suspicion of meat product theft. Wanted under suspicion of meat product theft, heist of fine arts, accomplice to the assassination of a pilot blood.
You didn't realize you'd racked up such a heavy list of crimes. He's already rounding on you with fury radiating off every inch of his being. Terrifying. You've seen this guy arguing with a retail clerk. You know what he's capable of.
All this time, I thought your soul was open in the way of the samurai. I thought I'd met a potential new connoisseur of the animated arts. But no, your blood pusher pumps only lies through your villainous veins. You were just looking for an alibi, a place to bide your time, to hide away from the drones until it was time to indulge once more in your criminal ways.
You try to defend yourself. You didn't do any of those things, and you had a perfectly good reason for most of them. Tegiri isn't buying it. He's clutching his katana's hilt so tight, veins are bulging in his hand.
Silence, coward. The time has come for my blade to strike true. Ha!
He draws his blade in a smooth motion and swipes at you, and you just barely manage to sidestep the attack. You dart backwards, stumbling over yourself in your haste to get away, while he swings his katana wildly around, while making lots of weird grunting noises. Once again, his mouth has been writing a check his sword hand can't cash, but you doubt that matters when trolls are stronger and faster than you in general, and he's accompanied by a giant murder drone. It's time for you to split, and you'd better do it lickety. Glancing around, you notice that you're about to cross over a bridge, with an underpass beneath it. Perfect! Just like an action hero, you can hop right over the edge of the road, duck into the underpass, and find a nice hiding spot. You dash towards the traffic barrier, vault nimbly over it, and oh Jesus, piss, this is way higher than you thought it was! You hit the ground hard with a resounding crack, and for a moment your vision goes blank as a wave of pain sears your nerves. As the pain disorientation begins to fade, you decide it's about time to take stock of your situation. A couple of broken bones, old hat. A troll trying to kill you, not unfamiliar. Drones attacking you, same. And sun about to rise and scorch you into nothing. Again. Individually, you've risen to the challenge of just barely handling each of these problems. But all at once? Yeah, you think you're just gonna call us from here. Useless.